Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today. We are going to talk about overcoming weight loss plateaus. When most people hit a weight loss plateau, they do one or two things. Number one, they eat less, and number two, they exercise more. And so today I'm going to show you why these things are not the answer and what to do instead. Okay? If you are watching this live, please comment live below. If you're watching the replay, comment replay. What that does is it bumps this post up and shows it to more people so that more people can get help and overcome the plateaus that they're facing too. Because as I'm sure if you're watching this, you're aware, having a weight loss plateau is super frustrating. And I want to help you guys and as many people as possible overcome those things. Okay, so live if you're watching this live, replay if you're watching the replay. Okay, so the first thing that we have to understand is that our bodies do not want to lose fat. Right? Body fat is basically the way that we store energy for long-term use. And so if somehow we were to run out of food, we would need body fat in order to fuel our heart, our brain, and our muscles, right? To do the functions that they need to do to keep us alive and keep us moving around and doing things. And so why in the world would our body want to lose that, right? It's actually a super critical function. It serves a super critical function for our existence. And so with that in mind, we have to understand that when we're losing weight and we're trying to lose body fat, a lot of the times our body is fighting against us because you're going to get signals from your brain like hunger, cravings, right? Your energy might drop. Subconsciously, you might move around less. Digestion might slow down and kind of be affected. And a lot of the times people hit plateaus and eventually all of these signals that they're getting from their brain become incredibly overwhelming. And then we can't stick to our restricted regimen that we're trying to follow consistently enough to maintain getting progress, right? Because our body is telling us we have this body fat that's really essential for us to have, and we don't want to lose it. So we're going to send all these signals to make you not lose it, right? It's working against us. And so the key here is we need to find the sweet spot where we're not being so aggressive that these signals are overwhelming and killing us, but we are still using some of that body fat for energy and burning it, right? We want to lose the fat, not have the cravings so we can continue to make progress for a long period of time. And so tip number one is don't eat too little. You got to find the happy zone of you losing weight, but not overly restricting yourself, and don't add too much exercise as well, right? Exercise is great and I want you to do it, but we don't want the extremes, right? Super restricted and tons of exercise, not good because those cravings and those sensations are going to be through the roof and just become overwhelming. The next thing is that as you lose weight, your metabolism will slow down. And believe it or not, that's actually a good thing. Because if it didn't slow down, again, you would shrivel into nothing and die, right? Not a good thing, right? If your metabolism was through the roof and you were 120 pounds, you had the metabolism of someone who was 400 pounds, we would continue to shrivel, right? And lose essentially our bones and things like that, right? Your body will keep using that stuff. So it's a good thing that our metabolism slows down in that way. That said, it needs to be accounted for as we lose weight. And so once you lose 10% of your body weight, so if you weigh 200 pounds and you lose 20 pounds, you're likely going to need to adjust your plan to account for that, to account for the metabolic changes that happen, and to continue making progress. In addition to that, it's always a good idea to do as much for your metabolism as possible to kind of minimize the damage that's inevitably going to happen there, right? And so here's how you do that. Number one, you got to sleep 7 to 9 hours. It's where we recover and it's where our metabolism restores, right? Number two, eat unprocessed foods, right? The more whole ingredient foods that you eat, actually the more energy your body will spend on digestion, and the more that your metabolism is going to get fueled by those micronutrients that are critical for your metabolism to function well. Number three, eat plenty of protein. There's something called the thermic effect of food, which is basically how much energy it takes for your body to break down the food that we take in. And protein has the highest thermic effect of energy. And so we actually burn the most energy when we eat protein. And it can account for up to 10-20% of your daily spend if you eat the right foods, okay? Walk more, right? Walking plenty is going to be just so helpful for your metabolism because it doesn't cause the same sensations and signals from your brain to the rest of your body that other exercise does that's more high intensity, okay? And number five would be drink plenty of water. Again, critical for your metabolism. So tip number two is adjust your plan as you lose weight. You can't use the same plan. What got you here is not going to get you there, right? All right. So in addition to those two things, the research shows that people have a very hard time sticking to a fat loss plan that's more than 12 weeks long. It actually, as I'm sure you're aware, becomes mentally and physically draining to continue trying to lose weight for a really long period of time. And that's why it is really critical to have what's called diet breaks, where we actually take a break from trying to lose weight. And so for most people, losing more than 10% of their body weight in one shot is typically not a good idea. We need periods of time where we have that break to focus on rebuilding, eating as much food as we can without gaining, obviously, restoring our metabolism, and giving yourself some time off. It's kind of like if you were, when you go on vacation and you come back and you like feel very rejuvenated, ready to go, ready to get after it, and ready to rock. If you never take a vacation, work can become incredibly exhausting and fatiguing, right? And mentally draining. And diet breaks work the same way. They give us that break and they kind of rejuvenate us and are remotivating. And so a typical structure would be 12 weeks for a fat loss period, and then 1.5 to 2 times that length for a maintenance period where you're not trying to lose weight, right? So 12-week fat loss period, 16 to 24-week maintenance period, 12-week fat loss period, 16 to 24-week maintenance period. And that's how you can lose a huge amount of weight and not really have any damage to your metabolism. Make sure that you don't hit plateaus along the way, because most people hit their plateaus after that 12-week mark, right? And so tip number 3, take diet breaks. Lastly, when it comes to exercise, the biggest mistake that we see is people doing too much cardio when they're trying to overcome a plateau. And I mentioned this in our last video, why exercise is not helping with weight loss, that exercise is not additive. Meaning if you burn 200 calories from cardio in your exercise program, it does not mean that you burn 200 extra calories in that day. You may not burn any more at all, actually, as your body will budget calories elsewhere. It'll take away energy from digestion, you'll maybe subconsciously move less, right? Your body is smart and conserves energy. If you spend energy somewhere else, you just conserve it in other places. And so, we want to make sure that we're accounting for that. And sometimes people, spend all this energy on cardio, but then, it makes us hungrier. And so additionally, extra cardio, oftentimes leads to those hunger sensations, which is a large reason why 75% of people who add exercise don't lose weight. That's a huge number, right? So what we need to think about instead is, what can I do to help my metabolism work better in the other 23 hours of my day that's not my workout, so I can burn as much energy as possible there? And the answer is muscle. For every 1 pound of muscle that you have, you'll burn 6 calories per day, right? So if you had 10 extra pounds of lean muscle, you'll actually burn over 21,000 calories over the course of a year, just from being alive, not doing anything, right? From sitting here, burn 21,000 calories over a year, right? And that adds up to, a good amount of weight over a long period of time. And no, 10 pounds of lean muscle will not make you bulky, right? It's not, lean muscle is just gonna make you look more toned and look the way that you wanna look and help you burn the fat, okay? So tip number 4 is to focus on lifting weights for exercise and add more walking for exercise if necessary to help the process, but more cardio is usually not the answer in this way. Now, cardio is super critical for cardiovascular health, for brain health, right? It just isn't that effective for weight loss. So if that's what you're working on right now, focus on strength training, focus on lifting weights, and walking more, okay? So those are the 4 tips that I had for you today to make sure that you don't hit plateaus, but if you do hit them, you know how to overcome them and continue moving forward. So if that made sense to you, comment "makes sense" down here, and I hope this was helpful. And if you like this, please subscribe, share this with a friend, comment below. All those things are really helpful for us to get this in front of more people and help more people so that they don't hit the weight loss plateaus and they can live the life that they want to live. All right, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you soon.